Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for your kind association. Let us get started with our study of Sri Jaiva Dharma by Nitya Lila Pravishtha Shri Srimad Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahasaya. Let us begin with Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Twise Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadādhara Shrivas Ādi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are studying the 8th chapter of Sri Jaiva Dharma by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahasaya. This chapter is entitled Nitya Dharma and Vaishnava Behavior. And I think we had covered till slide number this slide we had finished. How Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj embraced Shri Nityananda Das Babaji, and Shri Nityananda Das Babaji felt overwhelming emotions of ecstasy and great joy. So let us get started now. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. When, after a while, the exaltation subsided, Shri Nityananda Das Babaji, now looking up to Shri Haridas Babaji as his guru, asked, what are the mukhya, principal, and gauna, secondary, symptoms of a Kanishtha Adhikari? So, Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj is more than 100 years old. He had direct darshan of Shri Nityananda Prabhu. and he is a very, very great pure devotee. Sri Nityananda Das Babaji also has taken Babaji Bhesh, but he is quite young comparatively, and he is not so advanced. He is asking questions about Nitya Dharma or Vaishnava Dharma or Jaiva Dharma being eternal, and what are the duties of someone who is a Vaishnava towards other people. That is a topic of discussion. And how a Vaishnava behaves with other people will depend on what their spiritual standing is. Are they Dveshi? Are they Balish? Or are they Bhaktas? If they are Bhaktas, what category of Bhakta they are? Are they Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari? That will determine how we behave with that devotee. It's not about judging, but it's just very practical. You treat everyone with some baseline respect, but over and above that, you will do something based on the spiritual advancement of the person. So now, Shri Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj is asking his Gurudev, Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj, what are the primary and secondary symptoms of a Kanishtadhikari? The primary symptoms mean the main symptoms. They are called Mukhya. And secondary symptoms are called Gauna. So what are the Mukhya and Gauna Lakshan, symptoms of a Kanishta Adhikari? Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj replies, the main symptom or the Mukhya Lakshan, the main symptom of a Kanishta Adhikari is the faith. The faith the Kanishta Adhikari has in the eternal form of Bhagwan. The Kanishta Adhikari has faith that Bhagwan is eternal. This Shraddha, this faith in the eternal form of Bhagwan results in worship of the deity form of Bhagwan. Because the Kanishta Adhikari has faith that no, there is, in Vaikuntha, there is Bhagwan and Bhagwan is eternal. I have this faith. If this Shraddha is there, then when that same Bhagwan appears as a Murti in this material world, in the temple, the Kanishta Adhikari is going to offer worship. Because if I think Krishna is the Supreme Lord and Krishna is eternal, then when I see a Krishna temple, naturally I will engage in some seva, some worship. So the main symptom, Mukhya symptom of a Kanishta Adhikari is faith in the eternal form of Bhagwan, which results in deity worship of the form of Bhagwan. Now, what are the secondary symptoms of a Kanishta Adhikari? The Gauna Lakshana, the secondary symptoms are of a Kanishta Adhikari are devotional activities such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam, and so on. Hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers to Krishna, etc. These become the secondary symptoms. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam. They become the secondary symptoms, Gauna symptoms. It is not by these activities that a Kanishta Adhikari will be recognized. No, a Kanishta Adhikari will be recognized based on the primary symptom, Mukhya symptom, and that is faith in the eternal form of Bhagwan, which results in deity worship. Shri Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj replied, one cannot become a Vaishnava unless and until one develops implicit faith in the eternal transcendental form of Bhagwan. Nor can one become a Vaishnava without worshipping the deity through the regulations of Shastra. Because Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj clearly said that the Kanishta Adhikari's main symptom is faith in the eternal form of Bhagwan. Whoever that Bhagwan is, it may be Vishnu, Ram, Narsimha, Krishna, but the form of the Lord is eternal. Krishna stays in Vaikuntha and Krishna's form is eternal and deity worship. This is the main symptom of a Kanishta Adhikari. So Shri Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj is posing a question. So that means one cannot even become a Vaishnava because Kanishta Vaishnava is the lowermost type of Vaishnava. So one cannot even become a Kanishta Vaishnava unless one is worshipping the deity through the regulations of Shastra. And one has faith in the eternal transcendental form of Bhagavan. Unless these two things have faith in the eternal form of Bhagavan, and number two, deity worship. If these main symptoms are not there, then one is not a Kanishta Adhikari. If one is not a Kanishta Adhikari, one is not even a Kanishta Adhikari, that means one is not a Vaishnava. Because Vaishnavata begins with Kanishta platform. So Sri Nityananda Babaji Maharaj is saying that faith in the eternal form of Bhagavan and deity worship are essential to even become a Vaishnava. That these two symptoms of faith in the eternal form of Krishna and deity worship are mukhya, main, primary, is easily comprehensible. Yes, one should have faith in Krishna, one should worship Krishna, understandable. However, I find it very difficult to grasp why Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam are considered to be secondary symptoms, Gauna symptoms. Why are these deemed subordinate? Because remember, Mahaprabhu said, Tar Madhya Sarva Shresh Nam Sankirtan. Your Nam Sankirtan is considered to be secondary. And primary is considered to be faith in Krishna and worship of the deity form of Krishna. So how is that? Hearing chanting is most important. Shravanam Kirtan is most important. How can it become the Gauna symptoms for a Kanishta? Very beautiful reply is given by Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj. Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj says, the Kanishta Adhikari cannot properly perceive the science of Shuddha Bhakti. There is Karma Mishra Bhakti, there is Jnana Mishra Bhakti, but then there is the Shuddha Bhakti, where it is Mama Janmani Janmani Shware Bhavatat Bhakti Ahaytuki. There is Ahaytuki Bhakti, that is Shuddha Bhakti. But a Kanishta Adhikari does not have the Adhikar to properly understand the science of Shuddha Bhakti because he is a neophyte devotee. Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj says, certainly hearing and chanting, etc. are the limbs of Shuddha Bhakti. Bhajanero Madhya Shrestha Navavidha Bhakti. In Navavidha Bhakti, chanting and hearing is included. It begins Shravanam Kirtanam. However, as the Kanishta Adhikari is unable to realize the transcendental nature of Shuddha Bhakti, such devotional activities like Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting, do not take the mukhya position in a spiritual practice. Because he is unable to realize the transcendental nature of Shuddha Bhakti. Therefore, hearing, chanting, although they are very powerful in itself, the Kanishta does not have adhikar to do them properly because of contamination. And therefore, although hearing, chanting may be going on in the Kanishta platform, but it is not Shuddha Nam because one is not a Shuddha Bhakta yet. So therefore, hearing, chanting for a Kanishta do not take mukhya position, but they take the Gauna position. It's not the fault of hearing, chanting. Shravanam Kirtanam is eternally pure. Krishna Nam is eternally pure. But it is the fault of the practitioner who happens to be a Kanishta Adhikari. And because Kanishta Adhikari is simply on the platform of some Shraddha that Krishna's form is eternal and this is that same deity form, so I'll do some deity worship, but nothing beyond that, does not understand the science of Shuddha Bhakti. Hearing, chanting is secondary for a Kanishta Adhikari. Primary things like symptoms are deity worship and faith that Krishna has an eternal form. But a Kanishta is not so much interested in Vaishnava Seva. Therefore, for the Kanishta Adhikari, hearing, chanting, Shravanam, Kirtanam are designated as being secondary, Gauna. Because he doesn't have Adhikar. He doesn't know how to properly do hearing and chanting. He simply has faith in Krishna, doesn't have faith in the Vaishnava Acharyas yet. So therefore, for a Kanishta, Shravanam, Kirtanam, which are the main limbs of Bhakti, become Gauna because he doesn't know how to do it. But knows how to do deity worship a little bit. Has faith that Krishna's form is eternal. Another reason why for a Kanishta Adhikari, Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing and chanting are considered Gauna, secondary, the reason is that the Kanishta Adhikari performs these activities under the influence of three gunas. the modes of material nature, sattva gun, rajagun, tamagun. So the deity worship that a Kanishtha performs, for example, it is not pure deity worship. It is mixed with the modes of material nature. It is contaminated bhakti. It is not pure bhakti, unadulterated bhakti. No. The Kanishtha is hearing, chanting also is under the purview of the three modes of material nature. Only when hearing, chanting, remembering, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, etc. are executed on the Nirguna platform, which by definition is beyond the gunas, beyond the three gunas, then such type of hearing and chanting and remembering can be designated as limbs of Shuddha Bhakti, Bhakti Anga, Shuddha Bhakti Anga. When they are performed on the Nirgun platform, without the influence of the modes of material nature. As soon as these activities rise above the three gunas, the level of Madhyamadhikari is attained, which means the devotional service of Madhyamadhikari is beyond the three modes of material nature. As long as our devotional practices are covered by the three modes of material nature, we are Kanishta. It's clearly said that when our practice of devotion service, like chanting, hearing, reading, kirtan, it goes beyond the control, beyond the influence of the three gunas, three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, it is not Shuddha Bhakti. But as soon as we attain Shuddha Bhakti, as soon as our devotional activities are free from these three gunas of Rajogun, Sattvagun, Tamogun, when we become free from these designations, then the level of Madhyamadhikari is attained. So Madhyamadhikari is not a very easy position. We should not just simply say, oh, I am a Madhyamadhikari. It is not so simple. Madhyamadhikari is one whose practice of devotional service is beyond the three modes of material nature. That's a very exalted platform. Shri Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj, who was a student, asked, the Kanishtha Vaishnava suffers from Anya Abhilasha, material hankerings, which manifest as desire for karma, jnana, mystic powers of Ashtanga Yoga, and mundane sensuality. These are the Anya Abhilasha. What are the different Anya Abhilasha? Karma. I will do something and I want something in back, something in return. Jnana. Oh, I just want to get liberated, become one with God, and then I will see all these questions will be automatically answered for me. I will know everything. Or mystic powers of Ashtanga Yoga. I will do Ashtanga Yoga and I want this power, I want that power. How then may he be recognized as a devotee? If someone has all these Anya Abhilasha, material hankerings, based on Karma Kand, Jnana Kand, Ashtanga Yoga Kand, and just mundane sensuality, how can he be recognized as a devotee? If we have these material hankerings, then how can one be recognized as a devotee? Now, Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj, who is Guru, replies, the root of bhakti is Shraddha, faith. Therefore, one who has developed Shraddha or faith is eligible for executing bhakti and is certainly at the threshold of pure bhakti. So, Shraddha is the root of bhakti. Therefore, one who has developed Shraddha is eligible for executing bhakti. What gives us the adhikar for practicing bhakti? It is our Shraddha, faith. Our Shraddha, faith, makes us eligible for executing bhakti. The word Shraddha includes Vishwas, firm belief. Who can tell me this verse? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That Shraddha means faith in what? Who knows the verse? Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Koile Sudrida Nischay Krishna bhakti kaile sarva karma krita hai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita defines what is Shraddha. Shraddha means firm conviction that just by doing Krishna bhakti, everything will be taken care. पंछी ना करे चाकरी, अजगर ना करे काम, दास मलुका कहे गए, सबके दाता राम. That type of faith. That my employer is not maintaining me, nobody is maintaining me, it is Krishna who is maintaining me. Goptritva varan. Goptritva varan. That is called Shraddha. That I will just do Krishna bhakti. Everything else, it will happen. Krishna will take care. Krishna bhakti kaile sarva karma krit hoye. That is called Shraddha. Vishwas in this fact, in this principle. Shraddha shabde vishwas ko sudrida nischay Krishna bhakti kaile sarva karma krito hai. So that's what same thing we are seeing here in Jaiva Dharma. That the root of bhakti is Shraddha, faith. Faith is the foundation of bhakti. Everything is built on this Shraddha, my dear friends. Therefore, don't let any colleagues, neighbors, detractors ever attack your faith. Don't hear any blasphemy of our Gurujan. Do not hear blasphemy of scriptures. Do not get into mundane arguments. It is useless. And don't let anyone shake your faith. Faith will be shaken by associating with wrong people. Faith will be shaken by eating wrong foodstuffs. Faith will be attacked when we watch or hear something on social media or on different entertainment platforms, things that have nothing to do with Krishna consciousness, favorably. If we read such literature, we hear different news channels, and we associate with people who do not have bhakti, our own Shraddha will get cancer. This is a fact. And slowly but surely, our Shraddha will become weaker and weaker and weaker until one day we find ourselves, Krishna, I have lost my taste for bhajan. I was much more advanced before. Now I have regressed. I have regressed in my bhajan. One will actually feel this. So one has to be very careful. Shraddha has to be protected. Shraddha has to be protected very carefully. Like one's daughter. One will not let one's daughter associate with wrong people. So Shraddha has to be protected like anything. Faith is everything. So the root of bhakti is Shraddha, faith. Therefore, one who has developed Shraddha is eligible for executing bhakti. One who has Shraddha, faith, he becomes eligible for practice of bhakti. And is certainly at the threshold of pure bhakti. If one has real Shraddha, then we are on the threshold of pure bhakti. The word Shraddha includes Vishwas, firm belief. Since the Kanishta Bhakta has Vishwas in the eternal deity form of the Supreme Lord, then he is indeed a proper candidate for bhakti. If he has faith in Shri Vigraha Seva, he has faith in Krishna, then he is eligible for bhakti. Shri Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj said, at what stage will he actually attain bhakti? What stage does Shuddha Bhakti start? Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj says, the Kanishta Bhakta becomes elevated to Madhyama Adhikari when his desire for karma and jnana, etc. begins to wane. When the desire for liberation is not there and desire for sense gratification is not there. When this begins to wane, when concomitantly the Bhakta aspires only for Ananya Bhakti. When we are standing in front of Krishna, if our prayer is, my dear Krishna, I just want to become a pure devotee, I want to serve you and please you. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaya, mama janmani janmanishware, bhavatat bhakti ahetukitvai, ahetuki bhakti tvai. If this is the mood, that I don't want anything in return, I am just serving Guru and Krishna. When this happens, Ananya Bhakti we want, Unalloyed devotional service is what we want. And when instead of enthusiastically extending hospitality to all guests, he realizes the particular spiritual benefit of serving the Vaishnava devotees. Ordinarily, before coming to Krishna consciousness, all these parties, get-togethers, hanging out, this has been going on. We see it. We have done it. Earlier, people would stand at the square. I remember growing up as a child. People would stand at a square at some pan shop or someplace and just chat for hours together with friends, calling it time pass. But a person who is entering the platform of Madhyam Adhikari has no taste for such non-devotee association. Doesn't host parties at home, doesn't invite non-devotee friends over at home for party, for dinner, for celebrations. There is no desire to do all these things for someone who is entering the platform of Madhyam Adhikari, but wants pure bhakti, wants only to associate with devotee friends. And instead of enthusiastically inviting everybody home, neighbors, colleagues who are not devotees, just come home, let's party. No, he realizes the particular spiritual benefit of serving Vaishnavas, the devotees. Now he wants to invite Vaishnavas home for dinner. He wants to spend time with Vaishnavas. He wants to serve Vaishnavas because there is special spiritual benefit serving the Vaishnavas. At this time, the Kanishta Bhakta becomes a Shuddha Bhakta of the Madhyam Adhikari status. When these things happen, when there is no desire for Karma Kand, which means sense gratification, Bhukti, when there is no desire for Jnana Kand, which means Mukti, really no desire, which means if someone says that you chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulative principles, you'll have to take many births again in this material world. One should say yes, no problem. Then that is no Karma Kand, no Jnana Kand. Because Jnana Kand is practice to get liberation. They don't want a rebirth in this material world. But pure bhakti means not to have that demand also. Krishna, if you want me to take births, I'm willing to take millions of births. But I just want to serve you. I don't want to forget you. This is called Ananya Bhakti, unalloyed devotional service. When this happens, pure devotional service rises and all this Anya Abhilasha type of bhakti, it goes away. Karma Kand, Jnana Kand, it all goes away. And only pure bhakti is there. Pure bhakti means, Krishna, how may I serve you? How may I please you? It's very simple. When this arises, then one enters the platform of Shuddha Bhakti or Madhyam Adhikari. One becomes from Kanishta. But one must have taste for devotee association. One must have taste for studying the Bhakti Shastras like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And one must live a regulated life of eating only Krishna Prasad. If all these things are there, then a Kanishta can become a Madhyam Adhikari. Shri Nityananda Babaji Maharaj. It is said that Shuddha Bhakti begins to manifest with the attainment of Sambandha Jnana, the realization of the eternal relationships between Jiva, Bhagavan, and the Shakti of Bhagavan. We have discussed this. This is the definition of Sambandha Jnana. Last time we had asked this question, what is Sambandha Jnana? It is the realization of the eternal relationship, not some temporary relationship, eternal relationship between Jiva, Jagdish, and Jagat. Krishna, the living entities, and Krishna's different energies, which include this material world. Bhairanga Shakti. Relationships, eternal relationships between these three, Jiva, Bhagavan, and Krishna's energies. That is called Sambandha Jnana. It should be very clear. Therefore, how and when does Sambandha Jnana manifest? O Gurudev, when does Sambandha Jnana manifest? Bestowing the eligibility for Shuddha Bhakti. Eligibility for Shuddha Bhakti comes when we don't have any other desires. And we have proper Sambandha Jnana. Then one can practice Shuddha Bhakti. And practice of Shuddha Bhakti makes one a Madhyamadhikari. Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj replied. So the question is, how and when does Sambandha Jnana manifest in the heart, bestowing eligibility for Shuddha Bhakti? When does Sambandha Jnana manifest and how? Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj says, as soon as one's knowledge is completely cleansed of the minutest traces of Mayavadi philosophy, both Sambandha Jnana and Shuddha Bhakti manifest simultaneously. Jai. Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj is saying, you must give up your misconceptions of Mayavad philosophy before you can attain proper Sambandha Jnana and Shuddha Bhakti. Now, of course, Nityananda Babaji Maharaj is not a Mayavadi, but Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj is saying that this Sambandha Jnana arises, and from Sambandha Jnana, Shuddha Bhakti platform arises when one is completely cleansed of tinges of Mayavadi philosophy. That is very important. This Mayavadi philosophy is very dangerous. Mayavada bhashya shunile hai sarvanash, Mahaprabhu said. Shri Nityananda Babaji asked another question. What is the period of time required for this? When one can become a Madhyamadhikari from Kanishta. What is the period of time required for this? Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj replies, it all depends upon the strength of one's Sukriti. The higher the Sukriti, the quicker the result. Shri Nityananda Babaji Maharaj says, what are the initial results of Sukriti Bal, the power of previous piety? What is the result of Sukriti Bal? Because Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj replied that whether we can become a Madhyamadhikari from a Kanishta depends on the strength of one's Sukriti. The higher the Sukriti, the quicker the results. So, what are the initial results of Sukriti Bal, the power of previous piety? Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj replies, one attains Sadhu Sangha. So, if we are getting Sadhu Sangha, real Sadhu Sangha, that means we should know that Krishna is very merciful and he's giving us his supreme mercy by giving association of his pure devotees. So what is the result of Sukriti Bal? The result of Sukriti Bal is one attains Sadhu Sangha, association of saintly persons. Shri Nityananda Babaji asked, and then what are the step-by-step developments as the result of Sadhu Sangha? So Ado Shraddha, Ta Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, all that is coming. So Shri Nityananda Babaji said, then what are the step-by-step developments as a result of the Sadhu Sangha? So Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj replies by quoting a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.25. It's a famous verse. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti ritkarna rasayana katha tajjoshanada shapavargavartmani shraddha ratir bhaktiranukramishati. In the association of pure devotees, Satam Prasangan, discussions of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mama Virya Samvido. My glorious activities are discussed. And these are Bhavanti Rit Karana Rasayana Katha. This Krishna Katha is a Rasayan. Rasayan for the ears, Karana, and for the heart. Rit. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually advances along the path of spiritual liberation. Thus, one is freed from material contamination and one's attraction to the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes fixed. We become free. There is Anartha Nivritti and there is Artha Pravritti. Anartha Nivritti means getting rid of all the bad qualities in the heart. At the same time, one has to cultivate proper attraction towards the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. And we have to learn to be fixed in remembering and taking darshan of Krishna. Then the real devotion and devotional service will begin. Because unless one is free from material contamination and one has developed some degree of proper attraction towards Krishna in a fixed way, real devotion, real devotional service cannot begin. So we should hear. When we meet sadhus, we should hear from them. Most important. Going to Vrindavan means going to hear. And by hearing, our spiritual knowledge increases. And then we become apavarga, we become free from this material contamination. Shri Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj asked, what factors help one obtain sadhu sangha? You said the more sukriti we have, the more blessings we'll get, and the manifestation of these blessings is we will get sadhu sangha. What factors help one obtain sadhu sangha is the question by Shri Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj. And Srila Haridas Babaji Maharaj replies, as I've already mentioned before, sadhu sangha is caused by sukriti. It is bhakti poshak sukriti that brings us in the association of devotees. I've already mentioned before, sadhu sangha is caused by sukriti, as corroborated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.51.53. Another famous verse. Maharaj Muchukunda offers this prayer to Lord Krishna. Bhavapavargo brahmato yada bhave janasya tar achyuta sat samagamaha satsangamo yarhi tadeva sadguna sadgatau paravareshe tvai jayate mati. Very nice prayer. The translation is, when the time arrives for the cessation of material life of a wandering soul, O Achyut, that soul attains sadhu sangha. And when he associates with the sadhus there, it awakens in him devotion unto you, my Lord, who are the goal of the sadhus and the Lord of all causes and their effects. Krishna is the goal of the sadhus, and Krishna is the Lord of all causes and their effects. By associating with sadhus, and when he associates with sadhus there, it awakens in him devotion unto you, devotion unto Krishna. Shri Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj replied, if the Kanishta devotee develops Shraddha and an inclination for Archana, deity worship, as a result of his association with sadhus, then why do we say that he does not serve the Vaishnavas? So the question is, if a Kanishta Adhikari develops Shraddha, faith, and an inclination for Archana as a result of his association with sadhus, why then do we say that he does not serve the Vaishnavas? We don't say that. Let's see what Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj says. Gradually, on account of sadhu sangha, one develops Shraddha in the eternal form of the Supreme Lord's deity form. That, oh, the Supreme Lord is there in Vaikuntha, I cannot see. But this Shraddha is there. Shraddha is there. That Krishna is the cause of all causes. And he is the goal for all the sadhus. This Shraddha should be there. So how does a Kanishta Adhikari not serve the Vaishnavas? Because if the Kanishta Adhikari develops some Shraddha and an inclination for deity worship as a result of association with sadhus, then why do we say that the Kanishta Vaishnava does not serve the Vaishnavas? He is also serving. Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj replies, gradually on account of sadhu sangha, one develops Shraddha in the eternal form of Supreme Lord's deity form. However, what is imperative is that deity worship and service to devotees are performed simultaneously. Deity worship, Hari Seva, and Service to Vaishnavas, Vaishnava Seva, it is performed simultaneously. Until Shraddha has developed to this level, it is too weak to give one the eligibility to execute Ananya Shuddha Bhakti. Until Shraddha has developed to this level, it is too weak to give one the eligibility to execute Ananya Shuddha Bhakti. Which means, unless and until we have Shraddha, strong Shraddha, and we are simultaneously performing deity worship and Vaishnava Seva. Until this is not there, one cannot have the eligibility to execute Ananya Shuddha Bhakti. Not possible. It is too weak. If you are not doing deity worship and Vaishnava Seva at the same time. Shri Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj asks, what are the gradual steps that elevate a Kanishta Bhakta to the Madhyam platform? What are the gradual steps? He wants to know. Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj replies, the Kanishta devotee has developed Shraddha in the eternal form of the Supreme Lord. That we saw. Kanishta Adhikari has faith in the temple, the deity worship. So the Kanishta devotee has developed Shraddha in the eternal form of Supreme Lord and the divinity of his deity form, but he is not purified from mundane desire for karma, jnana, name and fame, etc. He is not purified of mundane desire for all this because we have done it for a long time. So the desire may still be there in the heart. We may suppress it, but the desire may remain. However, the Kanishta performs deity worship daily, and as a matter of coincidence, he meets sadhus at his place of worship who are greeted with the hospitality naturally accorded to any respected guest. So by performing deity worship, one will meet sadhus, and Krishna is arranging that. And then the Kanishta keenly observes the activities and behavior of these sadhus. So now the Kanishta Adhikari is doing deity worship because that's all he can do. But then some sadhus come to live there, and observing them, something happens to his heart. He meets sadhus at his place of worship who are greeted with hospitality naturally accorded to any respected guest. So Kanishta Adhikari is doing deity worship. Some guest comes, naturally he will welcome. And then it turns out that these guests are devotees. The Kanishta Adhikari will observe these devotees, their behavior, their activities, and he absorbs the spiritual discussions of the devotees on different devotional texts. Now, you are doing deity worship, you are in a temple, naturally some sadhus will visit and they will be discussing. So the Kanishta Vaishnava absorbs the spiritual discussions of the devotees on the different devotional texts. By such constant observation and hearing, he develops attraction and affection for the ways and words of those devotees. So someone is getting the sadhu sangha and one notices how they do their bhajan, how they walk, how they talk, everything. By such constant observation and hearing, he develops attraction and affection for the ways and words of those devotees. Just by observing these high-class devotees, one feels attraction for them. And one feels like, oh, I want to serve. But by such constant observation and hearing, he develops attraction and affection for the ways and words of those devotees. If we associate with mundane people, we will get mundane thoughts. If we associate with high-class devotees, we serve them, and we learn the ways of life from them, then we would have made a lot of spiritual progress. And this is how it works. The Kanishta is doing deity worship. Because the deity worship, it's a temple, many devotees come. He gives them a little discussion. And by getting into these discussions, hearing these discussions among devotees, the Kanishta Vaishnava makes more and more advancement, and then adopts the ways of those devotees, adopts the practices of those devotees by observing them, that these are real nice people, they're real nice sadhus. I also want to put tilak, I will also wear kanthi, I will also wake up in the morning and chant. These types of things happen. Attraction for bhakti, for bhajan, just by being in sadhu sangha and hearing spiritual discussions of the devotees, just by being there and hearing. So powerful. The Kanishta then begins to rectify his own fault. He realizes, what have I been doing all these years? What kind of bhakti I was doing? That's not proper. He then begins to rectify his own faults and weaknesses of character. Gradually, the mundane desires for karma and jnana begin to reduce. Karma means sense enjoyment. Jnana means liberation. Both are mundane desires. So gradually these mundane desires of bhukti mukti begin to reduce to the extent that his heart and consciousness are cleansed, and he becomes unburdened by anya abhilashita, material hankerings. These material hankerings, anya abhilashita, they go away. Listening to Krishna conscious topics and the transcendental philosophy as taught by the sadhus, this Kanishta Adhikari's knowledge and realization of the scripture increases. Now, because of sadhu sangha, he will hear in Bhagavad Gita it says like that, in Srimad Bhagavatam it says like that. So he will think, oh, I also want to get. So, listening to Krishna conscious topics and transcendental philosophy as spoken by the sadhus, his knowledge and realization of the scriptures increases. Then he starts reading Bhagavad Gita, starts reading Bhagavatam, starts reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, transcendental literature, because now that thirst is there. I want. In the process of analyzing the transcendental truths about the Supreme Lord Sri Hari, Harinam, and the devotional processes of hearing, chanting, etc., his realization of Sambandha Jnana and his own innate spiritual identity expands. So we all have our own spiritual identity, and the realization of Sambandha Jnana will become more and more clear as we engage in the process of bhajan, remembering the Supreme Lord Sri Hari, chanting Harinam, and performing devotional activities like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. This will help. When this initial process of development matures, the Kanishta Adhikari Vaishnava gains the adhikar to enter the Madhyam Adhikari level. When this process of hearing, chanting matures, one's understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, I am very, very insignificant speck of dust. Inanda tanuja kinkaram, patitan mam vishame bhavambudho, kripaya tava pada pankajasthita dhuli sadrisham vichintaya. So that is the process of analyzing. When this initial process of development mature, he becomes Madhyamadhikari, eligible to enter Madhyamadhikari. Only then does he associate with devotees and serve the devotees in the true sense. Because until now, it was all influenced by the three modes of material nature. So only then does he associate with devotees and serve the devotees in the true sense. At this stage, he no longer perceives the sadhus as ordinary guests. Now guests come and he will know, oh, these are Vaishnava sadhus, special guests. Until now, any guest who is fun, come, no problem, we'll host. But now he recognizes sadhus, oh, these are extraordinary guests. And he serves them reverentially as gurus. The Kanishta Vaishnava, he will do that. as there is clearing of the heart and more intense hearing, more intense chanting, remembering, and of course studying the philosophy nicely, a Kanishta can become a Madhyam. Shri Nityananda Das asked, many Kanishta Bhaktas do not progress. What is the reason for this? This is very important for us, my dear friends. This question directly, it is relatable to all of us. So many years have gone in Krishna consciousness. Why we are not making so much advancement? Why we are slowed down? Many Kanishta Bhaktas do not progress. What is the reason for this, Babaji Maharaj? Shri Haridas Babaji replies, if the Kanishta Bhaktas Dveshi Sangha, associating with people who have inimical attitude, that is called Dveshi Sangha. They are inimical, they are agnostics, they are not really sure that God exists or not, or they may be flat out atheists, or they may be worse, impersonalists, Mayavadis. These are called Dveshi Sangha. If the Kanishta Vaishnava maintains the Dveshi Sangha, he maintains that association, then if the Kanishta Bhakta's Dveshi Sangha is frequently associating, frequently mingling with non-devotees, then what will happen? The Bhakta loses the Kanishta status and becomes entangled in the pursuit of karma and jnana. Then he'll become a Vishayi, not Kanishta anymore. In some cases, the Kanishta neither progresses nor regresses, just remaining at the Kanishta level. Why? Because there is frequent Dveshi Sangha, association of non-devotees, even devotees who may be against Krishna consciousness. If we have such association, then we'll just remain at the Kanishta platform. Shri Nityananda Swami asks, in which cases? Because in the previous verse, it was said that in some cases, see this? In some cases, the Kanishta neither progresses nor regresses, but just remains at the Kanishta level. Shri Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj says, in which cases? In some cases, they don't advance. So he asks, in which cases they don't advance? Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj says, in cases where both Sadhu Sangha and Dveshi Sangha exercise equal influence upon the Kanishta, his devotion maintains the status quo. So basically, Shri Haridas Babaji is saying, spiritual advancement will not happen where both Sadhu Sangha and Dveshi Sangha are equally putting influence. The devotee will neither go deeper in bhajan, nor will the devotee be able to maintain the vows of initiation. There is sacrifice there is a compromise. That's because the Kanishta is not progressing because Sadhu Sangha and Dveshi Sangha is equal. He's doing Sadhu Sangha, which is good, but also doing Dveshi Sangha, which is very harmful. So he remains the same level. Shri Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj asks, what ensures certain progress? Okay, so some Kanishtas don't progress because they have devotional activities, but they also have material attachments, material activities. So for progress, one has to do the sacrifice of giving up non-devotee association. So Shri Nityananda Swami is asking, so then some people don't make progress, and you told the reasons because they have Dveshi Sangha. But what about those who do well? What is the secret of success? What can we do that will ensure that we make certain spiritual progress, guaranteed spiritual progress? Shri Haridas Babaji Maharaj says, when devotee association is frequent and powerful, and non-devotee association is minimal, the Kanishta progresses swiftly. I would like all of us to highlight this point. So important. When does a Kanishta become a Madhyam? When devotee association is frequent devotee association. And that association is powerful, where we speak about Krishna. And non-devotee association is in bare minimum, just hi, hello. Then the Kanishta progresses swiftly. And if there is equal sadhu sangha, equal dveshi sangha also, then the Kanishta will not progress. And if dveshi sangha is more, sadhu sangha is less, then the sadhak will even fall down from the platform of Kanishta Vaishnava if care is not taken. But how to succeed? Devotee association is frequent, and the devotee association should be powerful devotee association. And non-devotee association should be minimal. Then the Kanishta progresses swiftly. If non-devotee association is minimum and devotee association is frequent and powerful, then that's it. Kanishta will progress very swiftly. So I will stop here because it's almost an hour, but I can open it up for questions. Hare Krishna. Yes, Divya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I had two questions. You gave the example of Ajgar. That's, not to, just that kind of a attitude that Krishna will take care of me. I'm just going to do Krishna bhajan. But practically, how do we apply that? Because in my personal life, I kind of sometimes feel dreadful that I have to work so hard. And I wish I could just do Krishna bhajan and, and not do all this hard work that I do. And so I sometimes wonder what Krishna expects from me or wants me to do. That is one question. So should I ask the second question now? Or
let me respond to the first one first. Hare Krishna. So yes, that specific example is for those in the renounced order of life, where they completely depend on Krishna. But we are in Grihastha Ashram, and in Grihastha Ashram, we are supposed to work according to our Varna. In Grihastha Ashram, we have to work according to our Varna, whether we are Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, whatever our occupation is, accordingly we have to work. That is a duty of the Grihasthas, because other three ashrams are renounced ashrams. Brahmachari is renounced, Vanaprastha is renounced, and Sannyas is most renounced. So they are not going to grow grains. They are not going to develop the economy. They are not going to do defense and protection. They are not going to build homes and temples. And they are not going to work as Shudras either in society. So it is the duty of the Grihasthas to fulfill all these needs in society. And for them, that example is there, that you just do Krishna bhajan and Krishna will take care of everything for you. But that really does not apply to us in a literal sense, that Ajgar just stays in one place and the food comes. But for some certain Virakta, certain renounced saints, that is true. Prabhupada, he came to America, he didn't know what was going to happen. But he came. Krishna is depending on Krishna. Madhavendra Puri would never ask. He's just sitting at Govind Kund and he has not eaten in few days. Krishna himself comes with a pot of milk. So this is for the very advanced Paramhamsas, renounced personalities. But for us, whatever, now you are in the Grihastha Ashram and family is there. So whatever needs to be done, we have to do it. We have to do it. So that is mainly for in the renounced order of life. But it is not just for renounced order of life. We also have lessons to learn from Ajgar kare na kaam. What we can learn that yes, we are working hard, we are doing our duties, and we are really struggling and trying to make ends meet in this world. But ultimately, it is our endeavor, but Krishna's mercy is required for success. So, even as grahasthas, where we are working 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, we are working hard, we should know that I am working hard, but this is all for Krishna. This is all for Krishna. So, is that okay, Mataji? You can ask the second question.
Yes, Prabhuji. Now, the second question, when you mentioned not to associate with people who blaspheme and not to get into unnecessary arguments. Now, what if somebody like, for example, my husband's niece, she sent me 2 videos of somebody blaspheming ISKCON. And then I had a friend who just spoke about, oh, you guys just try to go and, impose your philosophy and try to convert people and stuff like that. So that situation, like I did call my niece and tell her that these videos are false and not to believe it. I mean, she's my husband's niece. And so I'm just wondering that when somebody is, so should we should we put up should we try to defend, or what should we do if somebody is coming to us and
Again, it depends on our bhakti adhikar, on our level of spiritual advancement. If one is spiritually very well situated, good madhyam adhikari or uttam adhikari, then they can take on anybody and defeat them. Like Prabhupada, he could take on scientists, he could take on religionists, he would take on Mayavadis, he would take on anybody. And Prabhupada was never defeated. Prabhupada was never at a loss of words, what to say, never. He was always victorious. Param Vijayate, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Because Gauravani Pracharana, and Gauranga Mahaprabhu was like that. There is no instance where Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu was at a loss of words or where he was defeated, whether it was Keshav Kashmiri, whether it was Prakashananda Saraswati, whether it was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Mahaprabhu always would defeat the opposition in arguments. So Prabhupada was like that, being Gauravani Pracharine, being a Senapati Bhakta of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But for us, we don't know Shastra Yukti. We don't know so much about Shastra. Our Shraddha also is Komal. So we should not get into these types of arguments. We can leave that to the senior devotees. When family members send us such videos, we have few options. And it depends on our relationship with that family member. If it's a very cordial, friendly, close relationship, then we can call and discuss. We can discuss, not pick a fight, but we can discuss that, I don't agree with that video. I think it's very one-sided. Like in any organization, there are different types of people. ISKCON is an international organization with hundreds and thousands of members. And there are all sorts of devotees in ISKCON. Some are very high class, Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttam. They are there in every organization, including ISKCON. And sometimes some devotees may do something that is not proper. Sometimes many times the devotees will do things that are very exemplary also, very glorious also. So ISKCON has many feathers in the hat. So many good things ISKCON has done for this world and continues to do so. So this type of discussion can be had. If the relationship is not very close and the person is not very receptive and they're sending such messages, such allegations, then we can just choose to ignore instead of getting into a fight, or send some positive video which will help that person also. So like that. But as far as possible, you are concerned, don't get into too many arguments or pick fights, especially with family members. It's not desirable, especially because most of the family is not very enthusiastic about Krishna consciousness. So let them be. They have their own journey. You practice your Krishna consciousness nicely and give it to your children, and just try to maintain harmony and peace in the family. Better to share with them some nice videos of some senior devotees in ISKCON who they may appreciate based on their psychophysiological nature. They may appreciate certain speakers. So like some people may really appreciate the fire of Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj, Sripada Indra Prabhu. Some like very mellowed down, and nice speakers who speak clearly. Some like scientific presentation of philosophy. Some like presentations with PowerPoint. Some like presentations with stories and jokes. So your family members, and whatever you think will work, you can share every now and then, not bombarding too much, but once a week, once every 2 weeks, you can share some nice thing that will inspire them. But as far as possible, don't pick fights and don't argue. Okay.
And if friends come up and say things like, "Oh, you go and you convert people and you try to, something like that. You go and try to impose your philosophy by giving out books and inviting them, stuff like that." You just ignore, or
just say that the way this world is, there is so much wrong propaganda. There are billboards convincing us to do wrong things. There is so much advertisements convincing us to do wrong things. Eating, here in Atlanta that day, I saw a truck was going in front of me, Coca-Cola truck, and it said, "If you love somebody, give them a Coca-Cola." As if Coca-Cola is some Charanamrit of Radha Madan Mohan. So this advertisement, this people are thinking, "Oh, now it's holiday season, so I have to give Coca-Cola." So to counteract that, we have to sometimes get into people's way and distribute books or give them prasad or talk to them, invite them for programs. So that is the mood. So like that, you can explain to them. And if somebody is really troubling you and forcing you, I'm sorry. You can just apologize on behalf of those devotees and move on. That's what I feel. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prahaladananda Prabhu and then Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you can unmute.
Yeah, now I can do it. Dhanvat Pranam Prabhuji, so nice.
Dhanvat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
About Vaishnav Seva and Sadhu Sangha, these points. Vaishnav Seva, if we do Vapu and Vani, I could not do any Vapu, but I have done Vani. So is it acceptable for progressing from Kanishta to Madhyam? And similarly, Sadhu Sangha, we are doing Sadhu Sangha mostly on electronic basis nowadays, because in some places like where I stay, we don't get much senior devotees and other people to associate personally. But I do regular sadhu sangha through, lectures of Sripad Radha Govind Swami and other seniors like that. And I get a lot of, inspirations from them. So my question is, are these okay or not for me to progress to Madhyamati?
You said you do what for Vaishnav Seva? I missed that part.
Vani, Vapu and Vani, So, my Guru Maharaj said that distribute Prabhupada books, and I've done that for so many years. And also, electronic sadhu sangha, because in person it's not that convenient for me to do that. But I do by doing, meeting them on electronic basis, like listening to the lectures and inviting their teachings like that.
Yeah.
So that's
So yes, that is good. Very good to hear the Vani, try to follow the instructions that we hear in the Vani, and that way we are serving the Vani of great Vaishnavas. But Vapu Seva also is possible. Something as simple can be done. For example, if there is a ISKCON temple and you have faith, then you can maybe just sponsor a feast for the brahmacharis, the ashramites who live in the ashram. Once a year, just some feast, something like that can be done. There are many ways of doing Vaishnav Seva. So this is something that just came to my mind. There are other ways also. Recently, it was winter and so many Brijvasis, they feel very cold. They may not have blankets. So just arranging, blankets. One blanket literally costs $2 to $3, or maybe a little more than that. And when you buy them in bulk, and they can be distributed. And you can ask somebody, you don't have to be there in Vrindavan personally. You can ask some devotee to do that service for you on your behalf. You can just give them some Lakshmi and they can distribute blankets to the Brajvasis. So something like that, or even where you are, sometimes you can just, cook something and invite devotees. Sripad Ayendra Prabhu, every year at the end of Kartik, when his Kartik Vrat would get over, he would personally, with his own hands, cook a feast, offer it to Nitai Shachi Sut and his Shaligram Shilas and Radharani and Ananga Manjari, and he would have a feast in Krishna Balram Mandir at the end of every Kartik. And 2,000, 3,000 devotees would sometimes come. But at the minimum, 500, 600 devotees would come. And for so many devotees, he would personally cook. And he would personally serve them with his own hands. That would complete his Kartik Vrat. And devotees say that, we used to wait for Kartik to end because we will get such a nice Krishna Prasad personally cooked with love by Sripad Ayendra Prabhu, offered to his deities. And, that was his way of doing Vaishnava Seva. So we can, if not so many devotees, we can invite one devotee home and cook for that devotee and serve him or her in that way. So if we want to do Vaishnava Seva, the opportunities will present themselves. But we should do some Vapu Seva also. Vani Seva is good, but Vapu Seva also should be done. So I hope this helps, Prahladananda Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Last question is Kirta Sundari Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the excellent section. Prabhuji, I have one question. In one of the slide, you mentioned that when a Kanishta Adhikari coincidentally meet a sadhu. So is it only by coincidence or some other factors also do determine that the person meets a sadhu?
Yes. So this work, Bhavapa Vargo, Janata Bhava, that verse has been interpreted by the Acharyas in two ways. One is when the time comes for the Jiva to become liberated from this world, the Jiva meets Sadhu, gets Sadhu Sangha. That is one way of interpreting. That's the straight way of interpreting the way the verse is composed. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, commenting on that verse from the 10th canto, has said that it is in great enthusiasm that Sri Shukdev Goswami spoke it like that. But actually it means that when a devotee gets Sadhu Sangha, the devotee will be, when a person gets Sadhu Sangha, the person will be liberated. When a person gets Sadhu Sangha, the person will be liberated. But it is so guaranteed that when a person gets Sadhu Sangha, the person will be liberated, that in his great enthusiasm, Sri Shukdev Goswami has reversed it, saying that when the time comes for a person to be liberated, he gets Sadhu Sangha. Because, to emphasize that it is so guaranteed कि अभी तो मुक्ति मिलनी है, ऐसा. So Chakravarti Pad has actually written like that. So actually it is not coincidence, even though it says like that. I also saw that. But that coincidence, and actually this will be addressed later on in Jaiva Dharma also, this exact same question comes. So do you think it is coincidence that one meets a sadhu? And Babaji Maharaj will answer saying that so many things, they appear as coincidence. Why some jivas have become baddha and some jivas are nitya siddha. So from our standpoint, it appears, that, okay, it's a coincidence. But actually it is not coincidence. Actually, it is Krishna's mercy that a jiva gets sadhu sangha, and that depends on the bhakti poshak sukrati that the jiva has accrued previously. So it's not random. It's not random. But that verse is like that in Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chakravarti Pad has said that it is in great enthusiasm it has been written to emphasize that, it is so guaranteed that the person who gets sadhu sangha will be liberated, that Shukdev Goswami said that when the time comes for a jiva to be liberated, he gets sadhu sangha.
Thank you, Prabhu. It was so nice to know. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Dhanavad pranams.
So dear devotees, I'm very sorry. I'm noticing something from the last few weeks now. I'm doing this PowerPoint, and when I do the PowerPoint, I blow up. My whole computer screen is a PowerPoint. I don't see any of you. I only see myself. And it really has such a sedating effect on me. Not able to see all of you, just those, slide. It's not working well. Because after a long day, working hard, and anyway, I'm a little tired in the evenings, but just reading those slides, I'm not enjoying it. It's much better to have all of you in front. But what to do? I have to share that screen. Maybe I'll share the PowerPoint with all of you, and then you all can see, and I'll just keep it on gallery mode, so I can see all your effulgent faces, and that will keep me awake. I don't know. But anyway, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Mahashaya ki jai. Nitai Gaur. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare